Bitcoin in 2023 has gone from a low of like 15,000 all the way up to about 45,000, and some altcoins have put in 2, 3, even 5x returns, and I'm not even mentioning some of the ones that have done 30 to 50x. If you're someone that's not focusing on crypto as part of their investing strategy, I think these videos are just cool just to know what else is happening out there, because some people are making a lot of money. Now, we do have the Bitcoin ETF narrative playing out in the next couple of weeks, which is why it's so important to pay attention, especially if you are interested in cryptocurrency and building a position in the space. In this video, I want to share with you my top altcoins, what's in my watch list, and why I'm looking at this specific niche to give me the highest return on investment over the next 24 months. So if you're interested in what my thoughts are, definitely keep watching. Hey guys, my name's Ravi and welcome back to Personal Finance with Ravi Sharma. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button because I talk about real estate, cryptocurrency, and financial freedom. Now, I know that we're going to talk about cryptocurrency, but if you're interested in real estate and you want to build a position in that, definitely go download my free ebook, which you'll find the link in the description below for. And with that, you'll get so much value just to set yourself up with the right mindset moving forward into building a real estate portfolio, whether that's in 2024 or beyond. It's important to get these fundamentals in place. So as we hop over to CoinMarketCap, what we're going to do is just look at the state of the market, and this is usually dictated by what Bitcoin is doing. Bitcoin over the better part of the last couple of weeks has gone in and hit a 52-week high of $44,000, and since then it has been sort of consolidating with the lows coming in at around 40,000 and really has been struggling to get above 43,000. While some people are concerned by this and thinking that whales are distributing, which means, hey, we're going to see a complete drop off here, ETF news is going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news event, I could still see Bitcoin go in and probably hit 46 to 48 as the maximum targets before the ETF news drops. I do believe it's going to be sell the news event, where once we do get the ETF approval, people are going to front run it, take some profits, and we could possibly come down to $30,000 to $35,000. Now, I've previously gone on to say that yes, I still expect $20,000 on the cards, but I said that when we were closer to about 30,000. Now that we've broken past that, hit above 40,000, if a worst case scenario was to play out, in my opinion, we're probably going to go into the late 20s at the very worst case. So 28 to 32,000 is probably the area that I think is the cheapest Bitcoin we might pick up over this next period and possibly ever. Now, does that mean you should go and FOMO in? Well, I can't give you financial advice talking about internet money, which is fake at this point apparently, and is a Ponzi scheme. So if you are investing into cryptocurrency or gambling in altcoins, then you need to figure out what your risk appetite really looks like. This is why I always say, build your portfolio out in traditional assets. For me personally, it's real estate. I can use leverage. I understand that system and have been doing it for like 9 or 10 years. Now with cryptocurrency, I've been involved since 2017. So yes, it's going on for about 6 to 7 years at the moment, and to be honest, there's still so much happening in this space. It's very exciting, at the same time super volatile. So if you're someone who has time and is passionate about these things, then you can go and spend time in it. But if you're looking for that passive investment that gets you sleep at night factor, this is probably not for you. Now for me personally, I thought Bitcoin was going to continue falling when it hit like 15,000, so I didn't pick up any at that point. But my average buy price is around $23,000. So on my Bitcoin position, I'm comfortably up, which is great. But then for me, I also know that once I've got my allocation of Bitcoin in my portfolio, I then want to go down into the higher risk plays because I know I'm not marrying any coins. I want to get in, get out, and learn from the previous 2 cycles of what to do, what mistakes to make, and what mistakes to avoid. So fundamentally in my portfolio, I've got Bitcoin and Ethereum, and that takes up a large portion. However, I do play in less than 10 altcoins across my entire portfolio. If you're interested in exactly what's in my portfolio and the exact weight that they hold, then definitely leave me a comment down below saying Ravi's portfolio, and I'll make that video for you guys too. Given that there's thousands and thousands of altcoins, how are you going to know which one to pick? Because that's the one that's going to get you to financial freedom. And that's why people call it a casino. It is gambling. And yes, you can use fundamental analysis, you can use technical analysis, but at the end of the day, nobody really knows what's going to happen to these coins. That's why you can only invest really what you think you're comfortable in losing as well. No one's comfortable losing money, but if the upside is there for like a 10 or 20x, then you would allocate that accordingly. So for me personally, Bitcoin and Ethereum is a must-have. But apart from that, in previous cycles, the mistake I've made was just following trends, following what an influencer said, and then just jumping on that. And then suddenly when that became cold and something was the new hot trend, I would sell my coins, go across there, and I would spread myself too thin. In some cases, I would take losses upon losses, and it just wasn't a smart way to do it. So for this cycle, my approach has really been about high conviction plays in one niche. I know that AI is going to take over the world and it's going to be amazing. I know there's real world assets and that's going to be huge. Tokenizing the real world assets is massive, but I don't want to play in every other sector. There is so much going on and I'm not going to keep up with it. So for me, I realized that gaming was going to be a really big niche and big narrative in this cycle. So I said, look, I'm comfortable letting go of all of the 10x, 20x opportunities, because at the end of the day, people only talk about when they make money. So there's so much opportunity out there. I just want to focus on less than 10 projects, because that way I know what price to get in, I know what price I want to get out at, and as I DCA into that market, I'm also going to DCA out. And if I only have to look at 5 or 6 coins, it means I'm going to be really targeted with my plays. So let's jump into what my top altcoins are, and I believe honestly that a lot of these will go on to do 5, 10x's, and in some cases probably 15x. I'm going to be really transparent. I'm not sticking around for that. I'm going to sell way too early, but that's because I really don't want to speculate at the high levels of FOMO and greed. And if I know what's going to happen at that time of my life in 2025, which is when I expect this bull run to peak out, I don't really want the stress. I want to go on and do other things in my life. So as soon as I hit my numbers, I'm out. And if you subscribe to the channel, you'll definitely know when that happens too. So the first project here is Gala Games. You've probably heard of it from the last cycle. And if you look at the all-time high, it had peaked out at a ridiculous valuation and it went all the way up to 71 cents. Currently, it's at 2 cents. So imagine having bought up here only to see it drive all the way back down. What's also super interesting is seeing how things have played out over the past 12 months. So if you zoom in, 12 months ago, we were pretty much at the lows of what we've seen for the 52 weeks. We obviously had the crash down here in and around sort of October, and that was mainly due to some issues with the internal team. So the founders were basically suing each other, sounded ridiculous, and people obviously had max fear. Now, one thing you'll definitely learn in cryptocurrency is when there's max fear, that is the maximum opportunity. You can see it with Solana as well. Over here, we got to prices that's on CoinMarketCap at around $9.80. Some exchanges hit $7 to $8, and that was off the back of the fear that yes, it was associated with FTX and it was all going to go down to zero. I remember tweeting about this as well. I should have just bought more at the time instead of tweeting, but anyways, you can see now currently prices are at $70. So these moments are opportunities. Obviously, they come with a high level of risk, and so high level of risk, high level of conviction means you will make those gains. Now in this case, we saw the low at around 0.13 to 0.12, and currently the price is stabilizing around that sort of 0.028 to 0.03. From here, do I realistically think it could go back to its all-time high? It would have to do close to a 25 to 30x in order for it to do that. And I personally don't think it's gonna happen. But the truth is, I'm not here to wait for it to break all-time highs. When people see a graph like this, and I remember making this mistake last cycle, was they'll see this and say, okay, well, if it's at 2 cents, it needs to go up here to about 70 cents. I could make 30x. This is a no-brainer because everything will go and hit its all-time high. And that is so incorrect. I know plenty of projects that never go on to see their all-time high ever again. In this case, I'm looking at honestly the area between sort of 20 to 30 cents. So that's about 50% of its all-time high. And that's how I'm basing my decisions when I'm looking at this niche. I'm saying, okay, unless they come out with a fantastic product, they come out with some amazing games that gets mass adoption, I don't think they're all revisiting their all-time high. Especially with this sort of market cap, I know it gets ridiculous and the market's gonna send it way higher than I think, but to me, I'm more of a conservative player in this game. So I'm saying, well, if I can get this at 2.5 to 3 cents and it goes up to 25 to 30 cents, that's a 10x. And to be able to do that with a project that has so much going for it, it's really exciting. So here you can go onto their website and check out that in the last cycle, they were just involved really with games. So it was called Gala Games. And now they've gone and branched out into music and into films, and they're working on gaming infrastructure, but not just for games. They're now working on the infrastructure around how to tokenize films, music, and be rewarded by doing those things. So I think it's really cool. It's a very well-known brand from the last cycle. So I think when people do come back into the market and they look at the gaming niche, they'll say,
whoa, look, Gala Games is still here. I'm going in for that.
They look at what the graph looks like and say,
yeah, I could do a 30x.
But in reality, it probably does a 10x. Maybe if we get lucky, it does a 15x. But again, I'm not sticking around for that. Similar to Gala Games and having that brand affinity, I think is Engine Coin. So here we've got ENJ. And if you look at the all-time high, we pretty much saw it peak out at about $4.22. Do I think it's going to get to that point again? No, but its market cap is about half of what Gala Games is. And we also have 100% of the circulating supply out there. When you look at the last 12 months, you've seen the lows come in at around 20 cents. From that low, we're at about 33 cents at the moment. And realistically, if I'm looking at Engine and how they've really developed their project, there are some really exciting things that they're working on, and you can come out onto their website and see those things. So it's launched top tier Web3 games. You can see how many active wallets they've got, transactions are there. You've got more than 13% of Engine staked. You can go in and stake your Engine and earn some more of the coin as well. well. There's a bunch of things you can do, but I'm not going to make this video all about engine. I'm here just to look at the price points of where I think these could ultimately head. And if I'm looking at this project, I can see it realistically getting around to that $1.20 to $1.50 mark. And for me, from this point, that would pretty much put it at a 4.5 to 5x. And that would again be really conservative, a 50% of its previous all-time high. And that would still be such a low market cap relative to where all of gaming will be at that point. So anything is possible. Again, I'm taking a conservative approach and I don't have a large portion of my portfolio in here, but I still believe that on the off chance they deliver on what they've said they will, then this will definitely eclipse its all-time high. The next project I've got here is Vulcan Forge PYR. And this is a very interesting one. When you look at the all-time high again, something ridiculous getting up to $44. And at the moment it's sitting at about $6. And when you look at it more recently, it's actually had quite a good run. It bottomed out here at about $2.70 and it's now sitting and consolidating around $6 to $6.50, which is really exciting if you did get in at these low points. Now, Vulcan Forge is the ultimate Web3 ecosystem known for Vulcan Studios. It's a gaming studio. And you're going to start seeing a trend. You've got Gala Games, you've got Engine, you've got Vulcan Forge. I'm really looking for infrastructure. I'm looking at gaming studios that develop multiple games. I don't want to go all in on just a specific game, although I'm going to show you one that I am. And the reason for that is I believe it's higher risk with those plays. High risk, high reward. But to me, I'm going in and saying, well, I don't know which game's going to pop off. I want to focus on gaming studios. They might be working on multiple projects. They might be working across not just games, but also music and video and film. And so Vulcan Forge is one of those studios that has shown a lot of promise, but also has a really good narrative playing out on Twitter for it as well. They pretty much have their own blockchain as well. So with multiple things that they've been building during the bear market, it's very exciting to see where it could end up. Do I think Vulcan Forge could go on and hit its all-time high? I'm more confident it could than the other projects I've spoken about. And one of those reasons is a fully diluted of only 307 million. To get back to an all-time high, it would have to do about 7 to 8x from here. I think it's very reasonable for it to do, especially if we see gaming pop off the way that most people think it will. So as I mentioned, these are the studios, these are the infrastructure plays. This is where I'm hedging my bets, going one of their projects will do well. One of the games they bring out is going to be super popular. And as that gains popularity, it'll come back onto the original blockchain or the original token. Now, here's the only gaming specific token I've picked up where it's backed by a game, and that's called Star Atlas. And in this case, it's the Polis token, which is their governance token. Now, if I'm looking at this, the chart, it looks whacked. When it came out, it had so much hype, and I remember when it was dropping, I was like, what is this game? Everyone wants it. And obviously there was a lot of hype around Solana, the FTX issues as well. And we saw it sort of peak out when it came out at around $7 or $8. And since then we've come down and we're sitting at 47 cents. If we look at the last year, it's done a really good run from around 12 cents all the way up to about 60 cents. And since then has cooled down to about 47 cents. For me personally, I bought in around sort of 20 cents. So again, I'm comfortable with my position. Should I have bought more? Yeah, I would have loved to, but it is what it is. Do I think this project could go and hit its all-time high, which would be about a 15x from here? I do believe it can. It depends on how popular the game is. When you go onto their website, like they know exactly what they're doing. They've put in so much effort, looks really cool. But again, so many other projects also look really cool. And then you can see here, you can come in, you can purchase NFTs, you can go in and play. There's a marketplace as well. So it's a really well-developed project now in 2023 versus when it did launch. There's so much hype when these things launch, and it takes time to build a game. So hopefully over the next 24 months, they're able to launch and it actually works. And this would be one of those high risk plays, which could deliver all of the gains in the period of like 2 or 3 weeks in anticipation of the game launch. The final couple of altcoins that I have here, one is Ultra, again, very popular from the last cycle. When you look at its all-time high, it got to about $2.30, and now at the moment it's sitting at 24 cents. Do I think it's going to go back to that all-time high? Well, with this fully diluted at 239, a market cap of 84, I think we can definitely see levels at around $1.30 to $1.40. And people often refer to Ultra being Steam of the Web3 gaming industry. And if you think about it in that way, it's going to be massive. So it's worth a bet for me personally. We also have Ultra Games, which is the ultimate platform for building and scaling Web3 games. You can go onto their website, learn more about it, but conscious of time and not making this video super long, a current price of 6 cents, an all-time high had seen Ultra hit 42 cents. With its low market cap, again, do I think it could go on to hit that all-time high? I think this is one of those projects that once it gets listed on major exchanges, you could definitely see it eclipse its all-time high as well. Now, I've only got 2 projects left, but if you enjoy videos like this, definitely go and subscribe, because I definitely will be making more crypto content over the next 12 to 18 months as we see this bull run really pick up speed. And the last coin I'm going to talk about has the potential to do like a 50 to 100x, which sounds ridiculous, but there's so much risk associated with something that's so low in terms of market cap. But we'll get on to the next one now. So next up is Polkastarter, and its all-time high we saw was almost $6, and at the moment it's sitting at 97 cents. What's crazy is that when you look at the last year, it sort of bottomed out and was sitting there around 25 cents, and since then has already hit close to $1 at 97 cents. For me personally, I got in around sort of 30 cents, and when I look back at seeing this all-time high, with such a low market cap, it really depends on what projects they are launching. These last 2 coins that I talk about are in the launchpad sector of the industry. So what that means is that you would go and buy this token, you would go and stake it, and that would allow you to be an early investor in games or projects that are coming out on this launchpad. So if you think about it, it's like Kickstarter, but you can only access certain projects if you have this token. I remember Polkastarter being quite popular back then as well, and numerous projects have gone on to do 30, 40x's off the back of launching on Polkastarter. So the price point for this will really depend on what projects do come out on this and how popular they are. You can go across to their website, see how it all works, and they've raised almost 50 million there. They've done 112 ideas funded, and they will also show you exactly how those other projects have performed, which is awesome. Do I think Polkastarter goes on to hit its all-time high? Yes, I think it can go on to hit 2 or 3x its all-time high, which is why I am so bullish around what Polkastarter is doing. And again, I can reveal what portion of my portfolio is to reflect that as well if you're interested in that. The final coin that I'm going to talk about has high levels of risk. It's a micro cap and is again in that launchpad sector, but it's called GameStarter, and it's the complete Web3 gaming ecosystem. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but essentially launchpad, incubator, accelerator, a development studio for games, and it's the exact same narrative when it comes to Polkastarter, but with this, it's such a low market cap, around fully diluted at 15 million. You can see an all-time high here in late 21 of about $3.40. When you look at the price now, it's at 16 cents. And if you look at the last year, it was sitting at 3 cents, completely took off to about 30 cents, or a nice 10x over like a period of a week, and since then has come in and corrected down to 16 cents. Again, this is such a low portion of my portfolio. Do I think this could go on to do 50x or 100x? Even at 100x, you'll see a market valuation that isn't going to be ridiculous in the bull market. So it is definitely possible. I know it's a bit of a longer video. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video on what's on my radar, but if you have any projects that you're looking at, I'd love to know. If you can go ahead and comment them down below, I'll definitely take a look. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks, guys.